I'm the co-founder of HoloSocks. My previous successful one is a company called Fix It Sticks, which started as a bicycle multi-tool, and now it's more in the shooting hunting category. Both these brands started in my garage because I was trying to solve problems that I was facing in my own little self. And turns out I am not alone. Other people have similar problems. So especially with socks. So HoloSocks, for the record, we are an alpaca sock company. We've grown tremendously in the past few years. Started on a Kickstarter. The growth has been insane. So we've picked up a lot of tools along the way to talk about. So we're going to run through what some of those tools look like. I am freezing my ass off. So if I'm shaky, it's not because I'm nervous. It's because I'm freaking freezing. I went and bought this thing and that's not doing it. So we'll see if I can make it through the day. So we'll go through some tools for explosive scale. All right. So a couple years ago, or actually a couple months ago, if I was giving this talk, I'd be talking to you a lot about doing VAs and hiring people on Fiverr or Upwork to assist with a lot of this type of growth. So you can scale things beyond what you're capable of in the hours a day that you have. But quite literally 3 months ago, or maybe a little bit more, plus or minus, that so much of that has changed into AI tools and automation tools that we're using at an extraordinary amount. So our team is 15 people at the moment, and I think we do the lifting of 30 or 40 people. So we're in the mid 8 figures for revenue. We started in 2019, and we're doing this a lot with automations to try to stretch our team as far as we possibly can. So 3 years from now, I have no idea what we'll be talking about, but we'll worry about that later. So here are the tools that we're using. So one of the tools that we use is a tool called GigaBrain, and we use this tool to find problems. So if we can find problems, we hope to be able to offer our consumer solutions. So GigaBrain kind of scrapes Reddit, and you can have it search for problems. So I am interested in people that are frustrated with socks that suck. And it's a long list of things that suck about socks, not for Holo, but for everybody else, right? So what I'm trying to get at is what people are frustrated about, when they're frustrated about it, what activity they're doing when they're frustrated about it. And I want to be able to get that information into some way that we can speak to that community that's relevant to them, because the more detailed we are with that problem and that solution, the more relevant our ads will be. So just for the record, we're spending about $1 million a month on Facebook ads. So all this material is going into an extraordinary amount of ads to show signal from noise. And these are the tools that we're using. So GigaBrain will give us this insight. And then we use a tool called GitPoppy, which has essentially allowed us to create our own LLM. So it's a Holo ChatGPT, if you will. And we load, I don't know if this will play. Okay, good. So we load GitPoppy with all kinds of information and context. I don't want music I don't want audio on there. Thanks. It'll load up with all this information about the context of the company. So there's an extraordinary amount of data and information about alpaca fiber, where the alpaca comes from, how it's sorted, how it's dealt with, the grades of alpaca, information about our company. We make our socks in North Carolina, the type of socks we make, the different styles, the different use cases for our socks. All that information will go in here. And what Brendan on our team here is, I'm kind of killing time. So it gets to one particular part, because when you build this LLM, you can not only fill it with context about your company and your management style and your voice or whatever context you want to add to it, you can upload all kinds of other stuff. So one of the really cool tricks Brendan will show here in a minute is he'll scan over to the left side of this, and he'll show a number of YouTube videos. And you probably won't be able to see these YouTube videos there, but all those YouTube videos are about how to write compelling ad copy, how to write hook, how to write SMS that sells, things like that. So you can take all that guru information that's out there and load it up into your LLM, and then your copy that's going to come out the other end is really good. Well, better than not doing that, I guess. I shouldn't say really good yet. All right, so then we're going to be able to produce email copy, SMS copy, or ad copy based off all those things. And this all goes back, if you can remember, to getting the problem from GigaBrain, loading it up in the LLM, and then we're essentially asking the LLM, like, hey, LLM, what do we have at Holo to solve these problems that this consumer is facing when they're going running or hiking or camping or hunting or whatever the situation is, right? So it'll scan all of our written reviews. It could potentially scan phone call transcripts from AI. It could scan messages, customer service cases, comments. And what we're trying to find is proof of a solution. So if somebody's, for example, saying like, I hate when I go elk hunting and I have to, I hate when I go deer hunting on public land. This is a real one. And I have to trek in bring all my stuff in 2-3 miles to get to my blind. And then, so during that process, I've worked up a tremendous sweat, and then I'm going to sit on my ass for 6 hours and freeze my ass off, right? Like I am today. So, we have a solution to that where we've got maybe customer reviews that says, oh, I love these socks because I can trek in 3 miles, get to my blind, and then they're so good at moisture management, I don't have sweaty, stinky feet for the rest of the day, right? That's perfect. So not only can we tell the consumer we have that, we actually have a review to back it up. So it's not just us saying it. We can pull in our customers that's relevant to that particular problem that they're facing. So then we're going to use a tool like Slack, N8N. So it goes from Slack to N8N to Notion. So N8N is a platform to basically run your automations or your AI agents. So we'll build, say, this is also super helpful. So N8N is like, let me back that up. So we're about to go into a VO, a video production thing, right? So we discovered that we had a number of different licenses across our team of people using VO or any other tool, right? So what this does is allow us to gatekeep the subscriptions that we have. So if you want to create something and somebody else on the team wants to create something, instead of you both having subscriptions to that tool, you can put it in Slack and say, I want to do a request for this to come from this tool. That will automate the process. Then we only have to have one subscription to that tool or one seat. So this process saves us a ton of money from not having wasted subscriptions for people that don't need the full access. They only use it maybe once or twice a week or once or twice a month. And now we're all using the same thing because we're automating the input to that tool. So that was really helpful. Let me make sure. Oh, okay. So we'll go from Slack and say, I want to create an ad that addresses the deer hunter trekking in 5 miles on public land to get to their blind. And then N8N will fire that off with scraping the LLM solution to the GigaBrain problem, and then pop that into Notion and say, okay, here's your ad copy, here's your SMS copy, and here's potentially a video idea for an ad idea or a hook or something like that that's relevant to that. So then the media buyer can pick from there. So I gave you the side quest already is controlling the flow, and the N8N controls the flow. So when it's hot as hell outside, and I guess I did have audio in this way. Sorry, it's so hot. So we can run. So we have this influencer talking about our
Go to Costco, go on Amazon, or buy like a sack of socks for $25. So I'll just talk about it. I'm about to change both your worlds.
Great job, you right?
Oh, I'll stop. Yeah, for a second. Present. Oh, but shit, did these socks not change? So we want to ideate based on these solutions. So we'll have these influencers, and then we can do the different, use the DO tool to create an AI background shooting line. And the goal is we're trying to create, not 80 degrees, small iterations. We're trying to make leaping iterations of ads. So I think kind of an old way to do it, a lot of testing, you'd have a lot of A/B testing. Like, I'm just going to change the headliner. I'm just going to change the word. And that's still important. Once you have a winning ad, I would still encourage you to do those types of things. But before you have a winning ad, you just want they're all over our bases at once. So with this app, these tools allow you to do a lot of ads, a lot of which whatever they're antimicrobe. So you won't be able to see this, but I don't know if you guys know this, but you can look up any brands, how many ads they're running on Meta at any given time. So right now, or when I pulled this screenshot, we're running 530 ads at the moment. So a ton of that is AI, right? Like we're a team of 15 people and not everybody makes ads. So 530 ads we're running. Again, we're running about $1 million worth of Facebook ads at any given time. We do some YouTube, some TV commercials and things like that, but most of our growth is driven by Meta. We're about 98% of our revenues are coming from our website. So we're just starting to get into retail, and I'm just filled with excitement of how we're going to use some of these tools with retail to help them with forecast planning and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, 530 ads.
Everybody was held attention about my socks overnight rifle season. We're all interesting socks cards, and my free hunting buddies literally
they're an extra competition.
I'm feeling someone.
They are running 60,
and Tom pulls up.
When I went and got artists, I don't ever
explain anything.
What did this allow us to do? Like I said before, this allows us to get
they were tired
crap ton of action.
I thought they would
find a signal that's starting to work.
The intervention that was wrong.
Angle is really starting to resonate. If you let her do the early thing, then we can double down on those things. So we can start. Anyway, we can start creating more ads and iterate more creative concepts around that environment of deer hunting on public lands. So if we find a winner, then we start putting human resource capital into it. We have our own copywriters that are full-time that work for us. We have people that do creative and graphic design and video and all that stuff that work for us. But we don't want to have them doing 530 ads. We want to save their resource for digging in on the ones that are going to work. So we use AI to figure out which ones are going to give us a little bit of work. Once we find that, then we can use a tool like Outer Signal. We'll scrape our customer base and find people that are influencers or famous people. And we can say maybe somebody's a hunter that specializes in hunting public lands. This tool could potentially help us find that. Or we want to be able to pull gender and be able to say we want to do an email to everyone who's female in this part of the country, or everybody who's male in that part of the country. We can subdivide things using tools like Outer Signal. Refunnel is if somebody tags us in their own social media post organically and like, I love these socks. I went on a 3-mile public lands hunt on hunt deer and they perform flawlessly. Like, oh, great. So Refunnel will help us tag that. And then we can turn that into a UGC ad to be part of that 530 ads that we're running at any given time. Okay. Now this part gets really cool. So then we got to figure out if any of this stuff is working and when the signal starts to take off. And then we'll use AI to drive some of those things. How am I doing on time? I feel like I'm talking too long. Okay. So we're going to track the winners. We got to sell and ship the socks at some point. And then we have to plan out if that's working. So our growth is amazing, but it does create a number of problems, which has everything to do with just getting enough. Thanks. That says 2 minutes. All right. So our growth, we run out of stack frequently, which really, really sucks because then if we have to turn on Facebook ads, that kills your algorithm for Facebook. So really try to avoid that if you can help it. But then we're going to, in the automation, will stock like, hey, this is out of stock. But prior to that, we'll see an ad that's working like, hey, the hunt sock over the calf is resonating right now. We're getting a lot of signal on that particular style. It will also notify the operations team, do we have enough of that style? Do we have enough stock in stock? Do we have it on order? So we're in production to get more of that. And if the orders are, we don't have enough inventory or we don't have enough on order, we can slowly turn that ad down. Even though we have a winner, we don't necessarily have the full package to put the resources behind that winner. Okay. And I think this is going to be really cool as we roll out more into retail. So we're in all the Shield stores. We're in like 15 or 20 independent retailers. Quick little humble brag. Bass Pro reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, we want to carry your stuff, which apparently is pretty rare. So that's pretty awesome. So that'll be next year. But I think these tools are going to be super, super handy. My goal is to be a resource for our retailers, to be able to give them more information other than be an order taker. I want to be a partner for them. Okay. So in order to get these types of things done, if you want to do them for yourself, we use a consultant. His name is Hunter, and his company is called Workflowsy. And so essentially what he did when he got started is he interviewed everybody, what kind of work they're doing, how they do it. And then he started coming up with ways to automate the ways that or to assist them, not to get them out of a job, but to assist them to be more productive and get more of the good work done and less of the busy work done. But if you want to do it yourself, there's a tool called Gumloop that'll allow you to do it. Okay, that's all I got. That was right into the... Okay, bye.
Goodbye. I think we are beauty agency. Oh, that sounds right.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just want Brian to actually do my job. It's going to be really tough to follow that. I don't have as much cool stuff to say. But I'm also Brian. It's got a Y in it though, so I'm like an edgier version. And you can tell I'm outdoorsy because I'm wearing my flannel today. So I totally belong here. I'm not an imposter at all. So we heard a lot about AI a little bit earlier today. I think it's on top of everybody's mind, right? And all of us are getting a little bit of our traffic stolen every single day, and we're seeing it. We're starting to feel it. If you're with a media outlet, you're definitely losing some ad revenue, right? So how do we get our content more visible back in these spaces to show up as a citation in AI search and trying to reclaim some of that traffic? I'm going to talk about 3 tools today. It's not going to be a full tech stack quite like Brian gave you, but 3 tools that are going to be really valuable to help you show up more in AI citations. You know, we refer to it as GEO at Quoted. There's 1,000 names for it. It's AI search, it's AEO, whatever. I'm going to use them all interchangeably, so don't worry about it. Yeah, so I already kind of ran through that. So the 3 tools I want to talk to you about today are Bright Data, Stacker, and Quoted, who I'm with. The first two of these tools, Bright Data and Stacker, are going to help you enhance the content you're already producing to make it more consumable for LLM models. And then Quoted, what we do is we help you get organic mentions in media covered by other third parties. So while AI search is kind of evolving and best practices around this are kind of coming out all the time, experts can kind of generally agree on three major things that help you show up and be more visible in LLM models. The first of those is having really structured LLM-friendly data in your content. What does that mean? It has headers, it has row headers, column headers. It uses bullet points. If it has charts, they're simple charts. The data itself is easily digestible, and there's not a lot of room for nuance in understanding what that data is. And then the second piece of that is posting your content just locally on your own website isn't going to be the most optimal way to get visibility. So having third parties pick up your content and distribute it on your behalf is really, really beneficial for boosting your LLM visibility. And then finally, getting third-party mentions, whether that's reviews, whether that's having your brand, your products, your in-house experts, your founders, getting mentioned by journalists, by people producing content that's relevant to your industry. Those three things are going to help you show up more frequently. First one I'm going to talk about is Bright Data. Bright Data is a really cool company that has hundreds of thousands of custom scrapers that go out to all corners of the internet and scrape literally every publicly available piece of data that you can imagine. And they take on, it's really creepy, and they take all of that data and they boil it down into structured structured data sets that are ready for LLM consumption. This can benefit you in two ways. And if you're a brand, you can get access to these data sets, include that data directly in the content that you're already producing in-house, right? You're all producing blog content. Some of it's really relevant to your product. Some of it's more general stuff to your industry. Including this data makes it more findable, but you can also feed this data directly into tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever you're using, and that data can inform the stories that you're going to write. So it becomes this cycle where you access this data, you plug it into ChatGPT, you say, I need to tell an interesting story that's relevant to Holosocks. It gives you the story ideas. Then you include the data that you just pulled in the content that you're producing, and you're more findable. I have a lot to say about Bright Data if you want to come to me about and talk about it afterwards. We don't really have enough time with some of the crunch here. But the other point I wanted to make about this is if you have a media outlet and you have a high domain authority, you can actually get access to all of the data inside Bright Data for free. So definitely worth checking out. A lot of retail data that are relevant to the outdoor industry as well. Stacker is a paid content distribution platform, and it works at scale. I think when I say paid content distribution, a lot of people go right to thinking of, your local news station. When you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you see there's like paid stories that are, dermatologists hate him, right? Stacker is a little bit different, and what they do is they're taking the content that you're producing in-house, any content that has really high kind of editorial integrity, not necessarily salesy, but if you're writing stories that are relevant to, maybe you're talking about the impacts of access to public lands on hiking brands and things like that. You can pay Stacker, and it's not cheap, but you can pay Stacker to enter into their private RSS feed. And Stacker partners with 4,000 news outlets across the world, and each of those are really highly vetted news outlets that have really high domain authority. And your news stories become available to them to slot into their main feed of stories. So you're not showing up as paid content on the side. You're showing up as a story alongside the content that's in the New York Times or the content that's on AOL's homepage. It doesn't say that it's sponsored. It says that it's written, the byline, by your brand, by your authors, your people in-house. So You build the story around structured data. It gets more easily consumed. Then you start getting picked up by Yahoo, the Star, the Sacramento Bee, whoever. And then again, you're showing up more regularly in the AI search. And then you can enter into Quoted. And Quoted is who I work for, obviously, so I have lots to say about them. But Quoted is a two-sided network that connects the media on one side and experts, PRs, and brands on the other. When we say media, we use that term really broadly. So media is journalists and reporters, but it's also bloggers, podcasters, people who are standing up independent YouTube channels, anybody who's producing content professionally. We consider those media. And anytime that those folks are writing a story and they need to inform that story with expertise or with products or with quotes from CEOs of companies, they can come to Quoted, make a request, and from that request, we can automatically match them with people based on their profile. We've got about 50,000 media people using Quoted and about 500,000 experts. So the network size can basically find a journalist, anybody that they need to based on their profile. And we use AI, we use semantic matching, vectorized matching, traditional Boolean to find the exact right opportunity for the right person at the right time. So if you're a brand, you come into Quoted, you create your profile, and then we automatically start serving you up media opportunities to connect with journalists who are writing stories right now that your expertise, that your products, that your people are relevant for. You're not cold pitching. You're talking to somebody who's writing a story that they're going to publish next week that you can help inform. And the experience can be completely passive. It can be completely passive. So once your profile is stood up, once you load your products in, when a journalist comes in and says, I'm writing a story, I'm doing a gift roundup about Father's Day gifts for the outdoorsy dad, right? We will automatically alert you. You don't have to come in here and actively manage. And then once you start activating that, or once you start having that conversation with a reporter, right, you pitch them, they give you a response back. You have an opportunity to start building an ongoing relationship. So we have in-app messaging, we have in-app intelligence that helps you understand how relevant you are to that person specifically and who else they might be talking to. And then over time, you're able to build that relationship, have a more open dialogue with these journalists, and again, get direct mention in the stories that they're writing. So when you're producing content and magnifying it over here with Sacker and with Bright Data, on the Quoted side, you're getting organic mentions by journalists who are mentioning your products, your people. All of these things are feeding into the LLM models, and you're going to show up in more and more citations over time. Okay, I'm gonna cede my time a little bit early because I kind of ran over a few things, but happy to talk about any of these tools with you.
Thanks, Brian. All right, my name is also Brian, but I spell it Jon. I'm going to talk about tech tools and tools in general through the framework of building strong brand partnerships and how these tools can factor into a successful brand relationship with athletes, creators, and other media and partners. A little bit about me. I spent 12 years on the brand side in consumer and sales and marketing roles, wore many hats at startups, 8th employee at one, 2nd employee at another, doing some consulting for a brand now that launched earlier this year. So I have a lot of experience in the early stage space. Been a podcast host for 6 years, done 50 brand partnerships over that time with brands like Puma, Volkswagen, Scratch, Hydra Pack, brands that are in the audience and here, wonderful brands. And now I'm managing a collective of 20 podcasts selling ads with the goal of making it really simple to connect one message at scale within a niche through an audience that is the ideal buying persona for most companies in America. Skews female, millennial, high household income, interest in the outdoor space. And I love to run. So what we've realized is that many relationships aren't set up for success, right? Brands have money and budget and they allocate it, and then they are confused as to why a brand partnership isn't successful. There's a lot that goes into what happens in between and understanding the components that enable that success are critical. And in my experience, there are a lot of brands that just aren't setting these partnerships up for success. And there are soft skills and tools that are able to enhance this. And we're going to talk about a little bit of that today. As we've seen, everybody wants to be an influencer. Lack of internal alignment on KPIs hurts relationship building. So if you're starting a relationship with a brand and you don't know what their KPIs are, you are going to fail because you don't know what success looks like. So it's important in establishing that with a brand. I always ask, like, what are your goals? How are you measured from a success standpoint? And that is really critical to understand. And many programs measure clicks and conversion instead of trust, and evaluating on the bottom of the funnel instead of the other components that go into marketing. So roadmap for the next 10 minutes or 8 minutes or 2 minutes, depending on what you tell me. We're going to talk about how to make these programs work and some tools that can enable that success along the way. So pick your lane. We're going to focus on 1 to 2 funnel stages, make it easy, give partners working links. Would not believe the number of times that I've received a referral link to use, and it is a dead link. Having a customer go to a 404 error page is like the worst possible thing you can do, and it happens constantly. Onboard well, give people the tools for success, reward growth. Everyone is motivated by different things. There are different platforms and tools that help tease this out and help people kind of pick their own path that they're going to resonate most with. Track beyond codes. There are tools that you can use on the back end of a purchase that help you understand attribution, because we're missing so much attribution because there's so many different components that go into that. And build community. This is where we take things offline. So what's the goal, right? We're all familiar with the marketing funnel. At least I hope we're all familiar with the marketing funnel: awareness, consideration, and conversion. Many brand partnerships are seeking to do all 3 of these at once, and that is a great way to set up not a great brand partnership. So I think you can do one or 2 of these things well. You can't really do the top and the bottom. You can do the top and the middle, or the middle and the bottom, and the same piece of content can sometimes work for 2 of those, but probably not all 3. And the same person is often better at doing 1 or 2 of those things. There are many creators and athletes and influencers that are fantastic at just simply driving awareness, but they're not going to be the one that converts. And again, we'll talk through some tools that can help establish that. Align success metrics before launch and agree on this together. For those that work at a brand, has anyone had these conversations with a partner? Like, what are the goals of this relationship? Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Talking through that is a great way to set the relationship up for success, so that halfway through, when you're having a mid-mortem discussion, there aren't any surprises, and that's critical. Trust can be a main goal of a relationship. I've had a deal with Puma for 3 years, and before we re-signed this past year, I asked them, why are we still doing this? And the head of marketing said, because of the trust that you have in the running space and all the great stuff we've done so far together, and you can't really measure that. So speaking of giving partners tools to win, keep it simple, seriously. So has anyone used an affiliate management platform that gives like a 50 characters UTM string? Yeah, me too. Has anyone used something that's as simple as ketone.com/FTLR? It can be that simple. I can remember that code for the product that I use, and I can rattle that off without looking through my notes, without looking through my newsletter to copy and paste the link. The brands that do this kind of thing are going to win because they're way more opportunistic chances to share that code. Like, I took a shot of Ketone IQ before this presentation because it helps me get mentally dialed, and Tony took a video of it, and I'll just put the link on there because I don't have to go remember it. So this is a great way. Thank goodness. It's freezing in here. This is a great way to get bonus content because you don't really have to do a lot more work to put in that link. In terms of other components of giving partners tools to win, share launch info early. One of the worst things is your partners learning about product launches in real time. And when the rest of the world does, people want to feel special, particularly the creators and athletes and ambassadors that you're working with. So give them give them tools to be connected to the brand and understand this information before it's publicly available. Onboard like you mean it and mean it. So strong start sets the tone. One of the tools that you can use is setting up an onboarding meeting and talking through the brand and the guidelines and tone and content and all the things that are coming from the brand. And it's amazing how few brands do this. Like I said, I've done 50 partnerships over the last few years, and I can probably count on one hand the number of brands that I've done this with. People are busy, but setting yourself up for success is a fantastic way to make the most of that. You can do it in a group format. You can have, 10 people all at once, or you can have a quarterly onboarding or something like that. But it's just amazing how infrequent this happens, at least from what I've seen. Okay, build a feedback loop. This is where tools can come into play. You're seeing on the right, this is Shopify Collabs. I'm a sales guy. I have been for 15 years, and I love sales. I love making money, and I love the feedback loop of what happens when I do something and something happens as a result. And so something like this is a notification from a platform called Superfiliate, and I get a notification every time a sale is made. And as someone who's motivated by action reaction, I love seeing that. It makes me want to do more, and I'm going to do more for the brand because there is that feedback loop. Example, Scratch Labs, I've had this partnership for 3 years because it's just sustained growth, and I can see that it's working, and I want to keep doing it, and the people are great, and it just makes it super easy. Okay, since we're short on time, this is Dylan Bowman, who is on Aaron's podcast as well, and Dylan is giving call to action for outdoor brands, and it's create a feedback loop. And the feedback loop where you onboard, you have a discussion about goals and expectations, and then you close that loop up. Did it work? And what else can we do to be successful? He's been a professional athlete for 20 plus years. And he said that this was from a podcast that we did together on my podcast called Long Run Labs. It's all about the business of the outdoor industry. And in this short clip, he was just saying, like, I really want to hear that feedback loop from brands. So you've been in the space. I won't play it. And don't forget your customers. Many people use CRMs like HubSpot or Salesforce, and you can go in and see who is checking a handful of these boxes. So identify your loyal and repeat customers, invite them into your affiliate and partner programs, and your next and best partner might already be a fan, and you might not even need to pay them anything, and they just want to promote your brand because they love it. So who is buying the most? Who has been with you since the early days? Who's made a purchase in the last 90 days? And does anyone check 2 or more of those boxes? You should know who those people are, and there are tools within a HubSpot or other CRM platforms that really help make that simple to understand who is engaging with your brand. Going above and beyond, partners and affiliates are motivated by different things. A cool way to engage with partners is to let them try things. So on my 35th birthday, Tifosi, which is a sunglasses brand, let me give a 35% discount to my audience because I've been a partner with them for years. This was a larger discount than they generally offered, and so they wanted to see if we could use a strong LTO to convert a lot of people, and it worked. And then they're doing it with other partners. Track more than codes. Let the tools do the heavy lifting. So again, this is a platform called Superfiliate. It's an affiliate management and partner management platform. They can track earned media value. So again, you're seeing more than just the bottom of the funnel conversion. And track more than code. So look at site activity, for example. This was a day that a big name influencer made a mention of a brand, and as you can see, it spiked. And then we saw a conversion on the other end. So we're looking at both the awareness and the conversion in something like this. And this is a screenshot from HubSpot on the marketing dashboard. And then build community. Take it offline. I'm being cut off here, so I will speed through the last part. Scratch, as an example, one of the tools that Scratch uses is in-person connection. This was a dinner at Western States this past year, and it's just amazing what this brand has done offline. So Takeaways, clear goals, great tools, real-time feedback, tiered rewards, attribution, and community. And curious what's working or not, or what did I miss? Thanks.
Guys, you did an awesome job. All right, Reese.
Thanks, not Brian.
Yeah, right. I'll be the side Brian over here. Let's see. We've got about 5 minutes left. If we want to do any Q&A, this would be the great time. So just raise your hand. I'll bring the mic over to you, and we can ask the question and keep moving.
Question.
There you go.
And a free bonus count.
You can come on my podcast.
Sold. So you guys talked a lot about tech platforms, and I'm a geek on all that too. There's a lot of tech platforms there's like 12 platforms. Reverse it. What platforms would you not recommend using right now?
Featured. One of our biggest competitors.
CJ, the affiliate platform. Sorry if any of you work for them.
Oh, yeah, I do everything in this life. There's got to be the right fit for you, right? So we use Rewardful for our affiliate program. I actually looked into Super Affiliate, but it was actually way more robust than what we needed for what we were doing. So, that would be a great fit for us. But if you are, generating a lot of content and you're trying to drive affiliate referrals from that, it wouldn't be the right thing. So I think that's kind of a hard question to answer succinctly.
My exclusionary criteria on the affiliate platform is anything that doesn't offer vanity links. And I've only seen that with Super Affiliate and Shopify collabs. And that's like my first filter. Just because the downline impact of that versus everything else.
All right. Do we have any more questions? Oh, we got another one here.
Give them the socks off your feet.
So, Brian, you talked about how you have designers who design some of your 500 plus ads, but then do you filter through those UGC videos through an AI app, or are your designers doing all of that to create those ads?
Let's see if I answer. So that refunnel tool that we use will help us identify first the people who tagged us in a UGC, and then we have somebody on our team, Mallory, who does our partnerships, and she would reach out to those tags because it's not an overwhelming amount, right? So she would reach out by hand and say, can we white label that ad? And so then we'll run an ad. And most creators are happy to do that because we're going to be putting real dollars behind their voice and face. And that will only help their, if they want to be a creator. But a lot of the organically tagged UGC stuff, those people aren't trying to be creators. They're just super impressed with how amazing our socks are. Thanks.
Nice.
Always be closing.